Podillia is a genuine pearl of nature that spans across the Ternopil, Khmelnytskiy and Chernivtsi oblasts. It is a land of mountainous and forest landscapes, generously splashed by the raging waters of Dnister River and its tributary. The beauty and variety of flora and fauna appear to be incomprehensible. The underground life of this land is no less intriguing, as it abounds with mysteries and secrets. Kilometers of cave labyrinths extend at a depth of 10 to 16 meters. The formation of karst cavities is due to the peculiarities of their geological structure. Nature has created them for millions of years in a durable gypsum layer. There are nearly 100 caves here. Only 1/5 of the labyrinths were studied, and each of them is unique. For example, the Verteba Cave is the only underground museum of the Trypillian culture in the world. This cave is unrivaled by both the quantity and richness of the finds, cultural attributes of different eras. Therefore, archaeologists call it Podilskiy Pompeii. The cave is located not far from the picturesque village of Bilche Zolote, which itself has a very rich history.
Річка Серед ділить наше село на дві частини.
The river Seret divides our village into two parts. This part of the left bank of the village is called Dobrokut. It's a great place for living. From ancient times, when the Turks and Tatars raided this village, people were protected by the dense forests from one side and the river Seret from the other side. This is how a small settlement appeared, which eventually grew into a small town known today as Bilche Zolote.
З тої сторони і почалось невеличке поселення, яке згодом переросло в містечко, а на сьогоднішній день це є село Білche Zolote.
The first documentary mention of Bilche dates back to 1482. According to the local legend, the village was named after a girl, Bilche. At the cost of her life, she rescued her fellow villagers from a greedy and cruel owner who exacted exorbitant taxes from them. In 1650, the Yazlovetsky family became the owners of the village. Then they built a large castle with powerful defensive walls and towers protecting the village from the enemy. With the accession of Podilya to Austria, when there was no longer a threat of Turkish raids, the castle went into decay. Then permission was given to break down the castle into building stone. During the reign of the Potocki princes, in the second half of the 18th century, a magnificent park with rare tree species that has survived all the enemy invasions was created in Bilche. After nearly 100 years, the park was replanted in the country style by its new owner, Leon Sapieha. This linden tree is over 200 years old. It was planted at the start of the founding of the Bilche Zolote Park by the Sapieha family. The ancient linden tree of 6 to 7 meters in girth is not the only unique specimen of the Bilche Zolote Park. About 400 ancient trees preserve the history of these places. Local historians say that as soon as the park was founded, there was a small central pond nourished by underground springs. A chestnut alley led to the pond, and one could savor the lovely scent of numerous rose bushes while walking down the alley. The real decoration of the park was the church designed in Gothic style.
The
church was built by the Sapieha princes in the best Italian traditions. They brought building stone from Italy, which is why the church has been well preserved. During the years of World War II, the church was slightly damaged, and here there was a collective farm warehouse. But eventually the church was restored, and today Greek Catholic services are held here. The church is small and looks more like a chapel. The balustrade is not very high. The Gothic windows decorated with stained glass, the tiled roof and several coat of arms of the Sapieha family give the church a unique look. The Sapieha princes did much for our village and for its infrastructural development. In their time, they built the school, supported the local kindergarten, the mill, built the local power station and laid pipes in the water supply system. Bilche Zolote is probably the only village in western Ukraine where most of the water is delivered without using a single electric motor. The water flows from the mountain through the water supply system to the village and the local residential buildings. In the 1890s, the settlement was renamed to Bilche Zolote and at the same time received the status of a town. This promoted the development of education and crafts. To this day, the local residents remember their landlord Sapieha and have only good words to say about his benevolence towards the townspeople.
Від палацу стоїть Сап'єга, он туди. Оце був підземний хід. А це була древітня панця.
Here was the place of the Sapieha family. I remember there was a wooden drill where firewood was stored. And here were refrigerator units with ice taken from the river Seret. The prince stored ice and meat in these units. There is a picture with Sapieha posing near the palace. The front entrance was decorated with lions. The prince came out every day, sat on a road cart, and went around the entire park to make sure all is well. Using the stones of the old castle, Hetman and Lithuanian Chancellor Leon Sapieha built a majestic two-story palace on the territory of the Bilche Zolote Park. And when the Bolsheviks came, everything was dismantled. They planned to shoot Sapieha near his palace, but local elderly women saved him. Close to the palace, there was a retirement home for senior citizens, whom he supported with food, clothing and medicines. In a word, he did good as he thought it should be done. As a sign of gratitude, the locals saved him and he fled to Canada in the night. The history of the Bilche Zolote village is inseparably linked with the history of the discovery of the largest in Europe cast iron Verteba Cave. In 1822, holder of the local lands, Jan Khmelnytskiy, went fox hunting. He shot a fox, but the wounded animal managed to hide in a hole. The latter sent 3 people from Bilche Zolote. Workers took with them spades and 5 liters of wine to keep up their spirit. Digging deeper into the hole, they took one of the diggers by the feet and forced him head down into the hole. The man began shouting and resisted furiously. After a short while, they decided that the poor soul did not have enough air to breathe and pulled him out of the hole to the surface. The fact of the matter is that when this digger saw the dungeon, he thought he had descended to hell. A huge number of ceramic products, which were mistakenly attributed to objects of Roman culture, were found at the entrance to the cave. In fact, it was a discovery, still unknown at the time, of the Trypillian civilization. Verteba is the only cave in Ukraine in which people actually lived. In the 3rd and 4th centuries BC, there were tribes involved in cattle breeding, agriculture, building 2 or even 3-story dwellings with rooms and high-quality painted ceramics. Who are these people? Where did they come from? And how did they receive this new knowledge? And most importantly, where did they disappear? In search of answers to these questions, scientists began exploration of the only underground city of the Trypillian civilization. The Verteba Cave is specially hidden among the fields and karst holes, and the entrance to it is difficult to find. Probably this factor played a crucial role over 5,000 years ago, when Trypillians decided to use it as an abode for everyday life. It was not for one day, but over an amazing 650 to 700 years that they descended into the dungeon where they found and established their daily shelter. From generation to generation, people shared information about an easy entrance to the dungeon, where, in the event of a danger, it was possible to hide for a long time and one could take everything necessary to survive on. This carried on for many centuries. As a result, very durable cultural layers developed in this cave. Here is Trypillian ceramics near the wall. Someone lost it long ago, more than 5,000 years ago. This is a piece of painted ceramics. Trypillians generously decorated ceramics with drawings, not searching for something in particular, We found these shards right on the floor you see in front of us.
Ті фрагменти, які просто на долівці.
There are many pieces of evidence that Trypillians lived here for many long years. We found their beds, kitchenware, and sewing accessories here. Archaeologists try to solve one of mankind's greatest mysteries, namely why the sun-worshipping tribe abandoned the life-giving race and descended into this dark and moist cave to live their daily life.
В якісь критичні моменти люди залишали.
At critical moments, people left the surface and descended into the cave to live in it, bringing with them a supply of food, water, and a large number of implements. This means that people did not rush into the cave, but deliberately chose the most necessary and expensive tools for their daily needs, household items, and ornaments. After a certain period of time, they returned to their everyday life and they brought all the aforementioned things back to their above-ground homes.
До своїх жителів, своє поселення.
According to one of the hypotheses, Trypillians hid here from natural disasters. The relatively warm cave, with a constant above-zero temperature of 10 to 11 degrees, rescued them during severe frosts. It is possible that they escaped from enemies and hid in the Verteba Cave. There were peaceful tribes, and for over 1500 years of the Trypillian civilization, they did not fight against anyone. Comparing the facts, scientists came to the conclusion that the Verteba Cave was the most likely the last refuge for the Trypillians, seeing as they inhabited the cave in the final stage of the culture of the Trypillian civilization. Colonies of bats hanging head down from their feet adds a special mystery to the labyrinths that lead out to some unknown territory. There are quite interesting and even rare species in our cave. For example, a common long-eared bat.
Попадаються в ці печері досить рідко.
There are also single specimens of tulip-like horseshoe bats and groups of fluffy night bats with moist noses. The Verteba Cave hosts 5 species of bats for winter hibernation. All of them are listed in the Red Book of Extinction of Ukraine. Last year, there were 156 fluffy individuals. Picking at the ceiling with their paws, bats spend their entire winter this way. Preparing for the winter, these little flying creatures accumulate beneficial substances in their bodies and then they fall into an anabiotic stage. Their life cycle is delayed over the winter, during which they save their energy. Therefore, waking up a bat during this period can do harm to them. The fact is that when they fly, bats waste a part of their stored energy. No one is concerned about this cave. The entrance doors to the cave are closed. Accordingly, people have no access here without our permission. We warn tourist groups not to touch the rare species of bats listed in the Red Book of Extinction.
Цих кажанів, тому що вони все-таки рідкісні, занесені в Червону книгу України.
Now central galleries of the cave are lit, and most of the bats fly through long corridors to the absolute darkness. It's amazing how Trypillians oriented themselves in such labyrinths without torches and how they suppress their fear of the dark. After all, the fear of caves is human nature, as they are dark and claustrophobic. A man was looking for salvation here, as the most precious thing he had was his life. He understood that the entrance to this cave was unknown to anyone but him. The dark spots left on a separate wall slabs indicate that the Trypillians left signal lights to find their way back. The burnt gypsum has remained for thousands of years. Now we know that Trypillians placed torches to find their way around these turns and forks, and also to know how far they had descended into the cave. Without good lighting, people mastered this intricate labyrinth and went 250 to 300 meters deep into the cave. They mastered the most remote, inconvenient places and then eventually returned to the opening of the cave on the surface. Most researchers who study the karst cave corridors call the Verteba Cave the Bermuda Triangle. The explored route extends for 9 kilometers, but the cave explorers admit that this way is much longer, and perhaps somewhere under the ground we can find the answer to the mystery of why the Trypillian civilization disappeared. So come travel together with us around the amazing undiscovered Ukraine. In the labyrinths of the underground city, there are still many treasures, and who knows when the Verteba Cave will open them up to us.